Grade 3, Unit 3, Digging into Division. This unit has 2 topics and a total of 26 days. So when we take a look at those 26 days, you see that we are covering a lot of standards. Topic A has 6 standards, and they are all about division. So a lot of those standards you'll be doing kind of at the same time. While you're making sense of these division problems and what they mean in 308A2, you may be doing that in the context of a word problem in 30A3. Or when you're fluently dividing in 30AC7, you may be using some of the properties from 30AB5 to help you do that. Big picture, you're working on all of these standards about division and reinforcing all of these standards about multiplication during topic A, which is major work. When you get to topic B, you'll notice there are 4 standards. 3 of them are actually not even Common Core standards because we don't do Common Core money, but we're including that eligible content because it's on the PSSA. These 4 standards are additional. They're not as important. You don't want to overemphasize them. And it might seem weird. Why are we doing shapes and money in the same unit as division? Well, actually, to be honest, the reason is because when we put it all in a calendar, we calendared it out. We did the rest of November and beginning of December for division. And then we noticed we had just about 2 weeks left before winter break. Rather than diving into Unit 4 on place value addition and subtraction, we said, you know what? Let's just squeeze in some of this content that we often don't get to before the PSSA. Content that's maybe a little less mathy, a little more visual, hands-on, fun before the holiday. Just remember that this is not the most important content. So if you do get behind and it's into January, you probably should move into Unit 4 rather than overemphasizing counting money and identifying shapes. All right, so that's Unit 3. We focus big time on division and its relationship to multiplication, and then we move into shapes and money. Let's think a little bit more about division. Notice these 2 different division problems. Han has 21 toy cars. He puts the same number of cars in each of 3 boxes. How many cars will be in each box? We know the total. We know the number of groups. We want to know how many in each group. In contrast, we have another division problem. Han has 21 toy cars. He wants to put 3 cars in each box. How many boxes will he need? We know the total and we know the number in each group, but we want to know how many groups. As an adult, I quickly read those problems and I know their division, but we can't just take that for granted with our students. We need to make sure they have exposure to both. Make sure they have opportunities to draw and represent both, use manipulatives to solve both, and compare and contrast them. When I think about the one on the left, if I were to solve that, I would think, okay, I need these 3 boxes. I would count out 21 toy cars, and then I would deal them out almost like cards. And I see, all right, my 21 toy cars have been separated into 3 groups. There are 7 cars in each box. I would solve it out by dealing. In contrast, over here, I don't know how many boxes to lay out, but I know that I need groups of 3. So I could deal out those groups of 3. It's kind of like, or it is, repeated subtraction. My 21 toy cars have all been used, and there are 7 total groups. Both of these problems, both of these models, represent the problem 21 divided by 3. When you look at the pacing guide, you'll see that we spend the first 2 days on how many in each group problems, which is like the left, and then the next 2 days on problems on the right, how many group problems. This is the order that I believe Envision and Expressions use. Illustrative Math actually flip-flops it, so if you're more comfortable flip-flopping it, go for it. Think about what would work for your students, what resource you use. Big picture, you have 4 days to explore both types of problems in a deep conceptual way. Give students manipulatives, encourage them to draw pictures. Ask them, what do those 21 little red circles represent? What are those little gray boxes? Make the connections between the models, the problem, and any expressions or equations that students use. All right, I'm going to go back to the pacing calendar to wrap us up. If you look at this division topic, you'll see we start by making sense of it, and then we really just try to more deeply understand division and develop fluency. To help us develop fluency, we make the connection to multiplication. I might not know what 56 divided by 7 is, but I can think 7 times what is 56? We're reinforcing multiplication and using it to help us divide. We end with some more real-world problems, but of course, you're infusing those throughout. We tried to incorporate multiplication and division, so students have to stop and think, now wait a second, should I multiply to solve this problem or should I divide? All right, we get to topic B. It's pretty quick, it's not as important, but a couple things I want to highlight. I'm going to go ahead to day 17. You'll notice that some of the formative tasks in this topic are sorts. I just highlight that because if you want to use them, it will require some printing and some cutting in preparation. This topic is also very heavy in language, in definitions, in talk. So you may want to explore the English Learner Strategy document if you haven't before. Some of these strategies are really helpful in all units, but especially this topic. Think, pair, share, reach a consensus, gallery walk. These are all great ways to develop understanding of language and vocabulary around these different shapes. When we get to money, down here to money, we didn't provide any toy money to you this year, but if you have any, it would be super helpful. It's kind of a fun set of lessons where we have lots of would you rathers and which one doesn't belong and counting money and real world problems. We hope it's a great way for you to end your calendar year of 2022. And keep in mind, throughout topic B, you can continue to reinforce division through your inclusive student